Welcome to Let's Talk. Today is May 31st, 2020. It's the end of another month, and welcome to everyone. Just want to invite you to share, like. You can invite others to come and be a part of the conversation. Today we'll be talking about wills and estate planning. So I've got with me today a special guest again. So his name is Jaswinder Dhillon, and I'm still gonna give you a minute or two, see if you are on. So I just want you to, like, share, invite others to come and get some information that they'll find valuable. As we're saying, during this pandemic, many persons are home. Persons have many questions with regards to, planning, everything that's happening with them. Their own mortality, has come to the fore. So we're just having this audience where we can talk about different issues that persons have, questions that you've got, write it down, and we'll be able to answer that as best as possible. So, Jaswinder Dhillon, introduce yourself. What line of work are you in, and for how many years have you been in that line?
All right, thank you very much. Thanks, Shabnat, inviting me on your channel and all the people who are watching or who are going to start watching. And yes, Sharon said you can like and share as well. My name is Jaswinder, as she mentioned. Work in the financial sector last 9 years, and have my company in the financial sector all over in Canada. There's a 500 plus license in our company who are providing all the financial services, distributing all the financial services all over in Canada.
Okay. So you're in the financial sector, and you've got, offices both in Canada or across Canada.
Yes.
Distributing different financial services.
Yes.
Okay. So with this pandemic that's been going on, how has that affected the nature of your work? Some persons are without work, some persons are working from home. How's that affected your line of work?
Well, in the financial sector, yes, the situation we are facing right now is not a good situation right now. A lot of business suffer, a lot of business shut down, people lose the job. But in the financial sector, I can say this is one of the sector where people actually more curious about to know about financial services they're using right now. And how we doing the business, and we know we need to keep the social distance. We can't meet people face to face. So the technology help us to move our business.
Okay.
And we're doing all the meeting on the Zoom, on the virtual meeting. Okay. So all the training on the Zoom virtual training. So instead of office training, and all the company and banks who are working with us. So they are also doing the training online. So I think it's more better now, because even the people are facing a tough time outside. But in our business, I think is always one thing I always notice: when challenge come, if you have a solution, you have more growth.
Okay.
So
that's a very good point. So when challenge comes, if you've got a solution, you've got more growth. I'll just say hello to who's on the live. Hello to Raphael and to Emily Namba. Welcome to you all. Be sure to like, to share. You can also join us on WhatsApp. There's a WhatsApp number that you can call. Just put it on the screen shortly. But what you need to do, you'd have to add it as a contact, and then you can call with a phone. Just a phone call. So it's +33 627 80 8675. Hi Emily. Hi Raphael. Where in the world are you joining us from? Let us know. Hi Wilma. Hello and good evening. Another familiar face. Very nice. Good to have you on today early, Wilma. Hi to you, Ying Chung. How are you doing? So we're with Jaswinder Dhillon, for those of you who have just joined, and we're talking specifically today about wills and estate planning in light of the pandemic, questions persons may be having about that. So be sure to share it, others can find this information valuable and it can be helpful to them. So, Josh just mentioned that they've transitioned to online platforms, and I think that's familiar for many persons. Like myself, I'm also working from home. So I'm not in the office for the most part. And lots of persons, if they're not frontline workers, that's the option that they've got. So you mentioned something just now about if you've got a solution, when things happen, then you're able to respond to it, right?
Yes.
So I've got here sometimes crisis presents opportunities, right? So share with us your story of the 2008 financial crisis.
Yes, it's true. Before financial sector, I'm in the construction business. So basically, we were building homes, and but in 2008, the financial crisis come in North America and most of the world. And I faced the challenge at that time as well. And even I am living in Canada almost 21 years. So I came in 1998. But in 2008, we are good. Financially is good. Everything is going good. When market went down, facing a tough situation to getting paid, because our business is basically we build a house, then we put on the market, the people buy, we get the profit, right?
So you're in construction at that time.
Yes.
So building houses for people to come in.
Yeah.
And for those, I think everywhere in the world had a pinch of it. But for those of you who don't know, there was a financial crisis in US and Canada primarily. Yes. So we had a kind of recession at that time.
Yep.
And welcome to Harkamal Paneser. Good to have you. Okay. Okay, go ahead, Jess.
Yeah, this is that time basically, the financial crisis when I face in my business. So I started thinking about, to do something else, even, have millions of dollar property, but no cash in the pocket. And I faced that situation in 2008. Then I, started thinking about it. But again, God helped me out, and within a couple of months or 6 months, I get going. But I stopped, back of the mind, continue thinking. So it took me 2 years, basically. Somebody introduced me in financial sector in 2010.
Okay.
So then, I'm already thinking back of the mind because I want to go in something else. So that's why I started in financial sector when somebody introduced me how this business can work and what opportunity you have. And within 9 years, I start from the bottom, from the scratch, 2011 February, full time. And after, never look back. And I shut down my all other business, full time in this business, and build from day one. I always encourage people. I say, hey, if you are looking opportunity and you're open mind, and you can attract the opportunity, and you can grow in any business. But yes, we need to learn in that process, of course. We need to learn a lot of stuff. Because I never worked in the financial sector before. I know I need to learn a lot of stuff. And I did that, and I'm continue doing it. So I think anybody, whoever living in Canada, this is a land of opportunity.
And I like that you mentioned, welcome to Jay Tong and Navneet Virk. Welcome to you. Wow, great topic to be covered by Dilan Saib. Amazing. Okay, and I like what he kind of positioned there, right? Because especially with the pandemic that's going on now, many persons have lost their jobs or, their businesses are in trouble.
Yes.
But I think now's the time for persons to actually look at, life probably a different way, different approach. What opportunities, is presenting itself at this point, because it may not be the line of work that you're in, but something else that's more stable or something that gives you more time with the family is probably something that persons can look into.
Yes.
So it's always opportunity. There's challenges, but there are opportunities. So it's taking that step back, reflecting and finding those opportunities as they come. So for you, it was the financial sector. Because of the crisis with the financial sector,
yes,
that's ironic too. So there was crisis in the financial sector, but yet it was the financial sector that you went into, and you've been quite successful with that business.
Yes, you're right. Because when I looked at that time in 2010, somebody presented me, because the financial service people are using, they are using anyway. Like they're paying the mortgage, car loan, all that stuff, insurance, right? RESP, RSP. So they're continue doing it. And that service never going to end. And when I feel that need, but the biggest need in the financial sector is education and awareness. There's a lot of people outside selling the services, but people not getting the education and awareness.
Okay.
And that's where I feel the need, and I jump in.
All right, awesome. So with what's happened, with the pandemic that's happening, more persons have reached out asking about wills. That's what we're talking about primarily today. So, what is a will?
It's a good question, Sharnat. Believe me, Canada is a well-educated country. People are living here from all over the world, and people are well-educated outside. But this is the one of the topic I can say always ignored by the people, and because when you're living in Canada, you have to adopt the system as well. Let's say I came back from India. India have a different system, but Canada have a different system. So I have to adopt that system. Now in the Canadian system, people must need a will. What is a will? Will is basically whatever your estate, and according to your wish, you want to move that estate to your beneficiary. And that will give a direction to that. But if you don't have a will, there's no direction.
Okay. So it's a direction as to what you want to be done with your estate.
Estates, yes.
Okay. So, but then who needs a will? Like, do I need to be successful, in my 40s, my 50s? Like, what age do I need to be? If I don't own anything, like when do I need to have a will?
It's a really good question.
I'll say again, welcome. We've got a few more persons on the live. We got Chandresh, awesome job, Dylan, Dominique Boys watching, and Quentin are also on. Welcome to you, and for those of you who are watching, if you just joined us, please be sure to hit that like button and to share the link with those who are, your friends, just talking about wills and estate planning during this pandemic, just putting your affairs in order, or just getting more information that you can make more informed decisions as time progresses. All right, so who needs a will? And when do they need it?
Yes, sometimes people think the will we only need when we get older, right? Or people think will only need if I have a lot of money or a lot of properties, all that stuff. But that's not true. In Canadian system, even if you married, you need a will. Okay. You have a minor child, you need a will. You have bank account, you need a will. Okay. Every situation. So it's not you has to have a large estate or you have a lot of money in your bank account, then you need a will. Why people don't think about will? I think one of the thing when you thinking about will, you feel, oh, my property gonna move after my death. So people are fearful to talk about death. But I think this is one of the truth. It happened anyway. So you must prepare for you and your family, and that is a will.
And I think a part of it, as you mentioned, it's something that's inevitable. It's like taxes. But you're looking about the person that you leave behind, right? And just kind of the importance of having a will to make sure they're the ones that benefit from it, and they're not going through, unnecessary hardship because you hadn't, done whatever planning because of a fear. But at least if you've got a plan in place, should something happen, prematurely, your family is still, taken care of, or your estate goes to your family and not to the government.
Yes, in Canadian system, because you see, 2 months ago, nobody knew about coronavirus, right? Okay, we are healthy, we're gonna live long, that's fine. But if that situation come, now we don't know when we're gonna get that disease, or it's something happened to me. Now, the family I'm leaving behind, because in the Canadian system, if you don't have a will, they have to go through the court. Okay. There's a process. That process can be 6 months. It can be even, let's say, you and your spouse, and both have a bank account. Yeah. And if you don't have a will, you can't access your spouse's bank account. And you have to go through the court. And that might 6 months. And there's a money sitting in a bank account, and you need that. And now, what are you going to do? You're going to use the credit card, you're going to use the line of credit, and that is a debt, right?
You're going to incur debts while you wait
for the get out. Yeah. Okay. So will is a most important document you must have in Canada. And it's very easy. It's not like a lot of things you need to do.
Okay. So talk about, and I've heard stories about it before, like I'm from Jamaica, you're from India. If something happens with both parents or to a single parent, your next of kin, your mom, your grandmother, your aunt, someone takes a child or the children, there's no worry about that.
Yeah.
In a situation, if someone's living in Canada, both parents predeceased the child, or the single parent, they die, what happens in the case with the child? Can they
Well-
go to the next of kin?
It's a very good question. If they're minor, so let's say something happened to both of the parents, kids might be not going where you want to, or raised by someone you want to.
Okay.
So it decided by the court
Okay.
who's willing to or who's can be afford to raise that child. So my dad, you never wish. So your kids go on someone else, so you don't know, right? So sometime, yes, in back home, as you mentioned, in India, like grandparents can take care of it. But here, that's not a situation. That's why you need a will. So you mention in the will who's be executor after you if something happen. Maybe first you and your spouse, but then after if something happened both, then who's the executor?
Yeah.
So you appoint that executor who's going to take care of your minor child. Otherwise, court will decide.
Okay. So if you don't make a decision, the court will make the decision for you.
Yes.
So the importance of having the will is that you are able to make that decision as to what would happen with the estate or with your family should you leave minor children behind.
Yes.
All right. So is having a will a one-time event?
Yes, you can say that in the Canadian system, according to Canadian law. Again, I'm not a lawyer. Yes, the information I have. Once you create a will, you don't need to up to. There's a not have to. But let's say if you're increasing your estate and you adding more properties, more wealth in your estate, and you might want let's say you have a cottage and you want to go this your granddaughter or grandson like this, then definitely you need to update.
Okay.
Then otherwise that goes according to the someone else's wish, not your wish.
Okay.
But if you don't add any estate, if you can make a simple will, that is good enough to take care of your estate as well.
So a simple one, if you've got estate, you're saying you buy a new property, now you've got a cottage or you've got new vehicles or a new house, then you want to update that will so
Yeah.
that everything is included, what
Yes.
you want to give to your
And
beneficiaries.
according to your wish goes to the
The
beneficiary.
beneficiaries.
Yeah.
So what about significant life events? So, there's a divorce, there's a marriage, kids come in the picture.
Yes.
Is that also time that you need to relook at?
Of course, if you're single now, you get married, definitely you need to change the executor, right? So a lot of people want their spouse going to be executor, and if the child in the picture after, obviously they want to now add who's going to take care of the child,
Yeah.
right? And also once you have a estate, will is a direction,
Okay.
right? But after the will, there's a lot of other challenge you need to cover. That is the probate taxes, capital gain taxes, estate taxes. The will is just a direction. Let's say if you have the will, and that's not going to solve all the problem. And there's the final expense, right? If you don't have a money in bank account, where there's money going to come from, and your final tax return, because after the death, your state need to file the final tax return, and if there is a tax consequences, who's going to pay the tax? Where this money going to come from? And let's say you have a house, principal house goes tax free as in Canada, but if you have other property, definitely there is a capital gain. So who's going to pay that? So there's a lot of small things you need to after that. But will is very important. That's the first thing. Then now you plan your estate, how the estate can go forward.
So you have ones. Okay. And welcome to Sumatra. Share the stream. Thank you, Sumatra. For others who are watching, again, be sure to like, to share, to invite someone else to come and learn as we talk about wills and estate planning. We're talking with Jaswinder Dhillon, and he's in the financial industry. And he's just talking, simple basics that you need to, when do you need a will, who needs a will, and the importance of having a will to ensure that, your wishes are carried through even after your passing. So, you mentioned will, that's just one of many things. I'll probably ask you a question. So with regards to a will, there were changes just recently because of the coronavirus. Can you speak to that? Does it have to be a notary public? Can persons, they have options to do, online will packages are there, different companies are offering.
Yes.
Some people are saying just write it up and have someone sign it. Do you have any information as to how that's changed?
In Canadian, according to the Canadian law, if you prepare the will and there's 2 witness signature, that is a valid will.
Okay.
So you don't have to go to lawyer or have to go to any legal services. But if you want to make sure like everything is proper the way you want, according to the Canadian system, obviously lawyer know more about you, more than you, right? So they know according to the Canadian law how you can set up. But yes, even a lot of online service available right now. The company called Everest, we have it. So they also provide the wills online. And you can buy sitting home on the laptop, you can have the will. Also the tragedy funds, something happened to the family, final expense. And also you even can update anytime.
Okay.
But if you go to lawyer, now you set up the will, now you want to update. So you have to go back again,
Yeah.
right? So because you pay first time, now you pay second time.
Okay.
But the online service is not expensive. It's like if you go to lawyer, I find out online roughly fees is around, husband wife is around $1,000 to $1,100. But a lot of people, if you go to online, a lot of services way cheaper than that. So you can use that because most of the people, they know how to operate the computer. Everybody have a smartphone today, right?
Yeah.
So they can easily, by sitting home, they can prepare their will.
So at your fingertips, he's mentioning that, hi Rhino, welcome, awesome job. I think that name looks familiar.
Yes.
Yeah, so, you have the option of, as you say, writing up a will and having two witnesses. A simple thing's better than nothing at all.
Yes.
We've got cheaper online options that's there. Everest also provides services where you can do your will online, you can update it, and there's also final expenses that's provided. Again, our number is online for those if you want to call to ask any questions or just chat. You just add a WhatsApp contact. It's +33 627 808 675. So you can add that number and then just give us a call if you have any questions. And then the third way is also you can go into a lawyer.
Yes.
And I think if you've got a more complicated estate, you've got lots of properties, or you own a business, then that's probably something you want to seek legal advice in to make sure that you've got everything,
There's kind of old ways, always we go to lawyer to make a will, right? So if you definitely have a large estate, like a lot of properties, then definitely you go through the lawyer that can help you to settle properly.
Yeah. And then if you own a business too, because sometimes
Yes.
complications with having a business.
Yes, if your partnership with all that stuff. Because in Canadian, according to the Canadian stat, they're saying 90% Canadian, they don't have the will. So even, let's say, as I mentioned, you write a will and two witness signature. Let's say you're married and you have minor child, but you don't have big estate. And that at least that paper help your family big time.
Yeah.
Right? And there's two will. The one is the last will,
Last will and testament.
and living will.
And the living will.
Yes.
What is the living will?
The living will is basically, let's say, we are healthy today, but something comes up, any critical illness comes up, and I can't make the decision for myself.
Now, when you say critical illness, I mean, for those who, you probably know the term, but for those who don't know, what's critical illness?
Yes, critical illness means, let's say, you're not in the capacity to make a decision.
Okay.
So, might be some people got Alzheimer, MS, or cancer, or heart attack, kind of stuff, right? So people in the situation, they can't make a decision that time.
Okay.
So that if you have a living will and you already appoint someone who can make a decision on behalf of you, and even about yourself, like let's say we go in the hospital, a doctor always asks that if they need to operate on you, if they need to might transplant any organ or anything, so they need permission.
Okay.
But if you're not in the position to make a decision, so obviously if you have a living will, so somebody else can make a decision that time.
Okay.
So that the process is going to be fast to cure you, right?
Okay.
So instead of waiting for all that paper document.
So you mentioned if you've got a living will, then someone can make a decision on your behalf.
Yes.
Should, if you've been in an accident or you have a critical illness and you're not able to make a decision,
Yeah.
the person can say, yes, go ahead, operate, do
Yes.
this, don't do this, and
Yes.
and help to make a decision on your behalf.
Yeah.
Is that different from a health directive?
Health directive is, yes, a little bit different.
Okay.
Health directive kind of while you're in good condition, you can make a decision, what do you want?
Okay.
Like you want to go on the machine, you don't want to go on the machine, and how you got your after the funeral, all that stuff. There's a lot of information in the health directive. That's kind of the way you want.
Okay.
So then they can make the decision.
So like for me now, I always say, if something happens and I have to be on a machine, I gotta make sure, give me at least 30 days so my families can come see me and say their goodbyes, but don't keep me there for a year on a machine.
Yes.
So I can make a directive like
Directive
that.
like that.
Okay. And I've got Courtney is on, very important topic. Great job, guys. Good to see you, Courtney. Donnet mentions, can I use my children to be executors for my will?
Well, if they are minor, not.
Okay.
They must be 18 plus.
Okay.
So
they're adults.
if you're kid adult, then definitely you can use that.
Okay. So yes, Donnet, you can use your adult children to be executors on your will. That's my mom, by the way.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's easy because if you, let's say you don't have a will, now the family need to go to the court, or what happen, your estate handled by the court. So what court do, they basically with the probate taxes, and they issue in the newspaper, this person so and so happened, and there's a stage there if any beneficiary want to claim. So let's say you want to go your property to your kids, or maybe mother, father, or something like this, but there's a brother, sister, sibling, or your cousins, they also can claim that time. Might they don't get anything, but it's going to take long process to finish that.
Okay.
Sometimes it took 2 years or 3 years. And whatever, if that process going more longer, that costing your estate. Because your estate need to pay that all the fees.
Okay.
But if you have the will and you point your kids, they are adult, you point executor to them, then it's easy.
So
But
you're saying, if you got a kid, but then the cousin can come and say, but I want, or I'm taking claim because, I used to take care of her too, or something like that.
Yes.
And then it can be a long
fight.
drawn process, process in the court system. Wilma says, for conversation, at what age can you make a will?
Even I can say in Canadian system, if you have a child also need a will.
Okay.
You can make behalf of the child.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Why is that? Because let's say, the simple way if I explain, let's say we are going to go travel to USA or Mexico or somewhere else, and something happened there, any tragedy happened, to bring that body back, you need a will.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So you can make one on behalf of your child, Wilma. So
Yeah. If they are over 18 or 16, yes, they have their own will. They can appoint you executor.
okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Didn't know that. So other terminologies close to a will, power of attorney. What is the power of attorney?
Yes, power attorney is two different power attorney basically. The number one, let's say, if I give my example, I'm living here in Canada, and I have some property back home as well. But I don't want to go back. So I can make a power attorney to whoever living in India, so they can take care of that on behalf of me.
Okay.
Right? So same thing here, you can do that.
Okay.
That is kind of you're making a decision while you are capable to make a decision, and you're giving your rights to someone else,
Okay.
so they can do whatever to the property or something else behalf of you. You don't need to be there.
Okay.
The other power of attorney is if something happen, you can't make a decision.
Okay.
That's as we calling the living will,
Okay.
and this is also needed.
So the enduring power of attorney.
Yes.
One is. So a regular power of attorney, you're in another country or in another province, you've got left property there, for example, and I'm like, okay, my brother is in Saskatchewan, I want him to take care of the house, everything to do with it, I don't have to be traveling back and forth. I
Yes.
have a power of attorney where he's responsible for that,
Yes.
I don't have to come to sign papers.
Yeah.
But then there's an enduring one, so if there's anything and I'm incapacitated,
Yes.
someone can make a decision on
Yes.
my behalf.
Yes.
Okay, so something to think about. So we talked about health directive a little bit.
Yep.
And I've got, so is it important? And I mentioned you had a significant health challenge. How would a directive have affected it?
No, it's a very good question. Sometime when we are healthy, we never think about this kind of stuff, right? But the health directive in Canadian system, I think, is a really important document. And when you're in the hospital now, when I got a health challenge, so I'm okay. I can make a decision. I'm still, I'm in that capacity.
faculties are
Yes.
still in-
So
yeah.
I'm in that capacity. But sometimes people go in coma, or they lose the capacity to make a decision. Then if there's no health directive, then a lot of time, if there's any transport or anything, doctor face a challenge. Sometimes they need a from the court or something like this. So that delay the process.
So you're on the machine waiting.
Yeah.
The doctor is waiting for.
Might you don't have a time. They need to do right away.
Yeah.
Right. So to save the life. So then if you have a health directive, and I think that's a easy way to handle all the situations for your family, because they are already emotionally down. Now they also struggling to on the paperwork.
To deal with what's
Right.
happening.
Yeah.
Welcome, Yunes. Great topic. Good to have you. Again, if you've got any questions, be sure to put your questions on or give us a call. We've got just about 50 more minutes with Jaswinder, so I've got one more question, and then, as I said, you can call in or write your questions in the chat. Thanks for those who are already writing, and please be sure to share. Someone will find this information informative and something helpful for them. Wilma is asking, what should you put or not put in a will? Is there something that you shouldn't be putting in a will?
No, I think when you making a will, whatever you own,
Okay.
like you must, even you can make a simple will. You say, okay, whatever I own in property or the cash goes to my spouse. Simple way.
Okay.
So you don't need to mention house, this. But if you want exactly, like let's say you want, as I mentioned, the cottage, and you want to give it to your grandkids. So now you need to mention. If you never mention, so then it goes a standard way to your spouse, and they decide what they want.
Okay.
But if it means your wish is something else, but their wish is something else,
Yeah.
right?
Or if they don't like that grandkid, they're like, no, I'm gonna give it to this.
Yes. Yeah. No, a lot of time if you. That's what I'm saying is if you're making a simple will, so you can write just simple word and do witness signature, and whoever executor, they're going to take care of it.
Okay.
But the detail will means if you go to lawyer or you have a estate, big estate, then obviously they mention every single detail in the
So
will.
that's there. Okay.
Yeah.
So you got Wilma, whatever you own included in the will.
Yeah.
So I got a question too. So if you've got property or you got money. So what if I say, say I had 100,000 in the bank, and I start saying I want to give 50,000 to this child, 20,000 to this child, 20,000 to this child. Is there any challenge there as opposed to saying what percentage of what I want to give?
No, yeah, totally. Whatever you want, what's your wish, you can put a dollar figure, you can put a percentage, because you know how much cash sitting in the account. And that kind of, according to your wish, according to your will, it's going to be divided all in the child.
Because I think now if money needs to be paid for anything, and then it's not 100,000 now, they're going to say, I'm supposed to get 50,000,
Yes.
and I'm only getting...
Because in Canada, let's say you have a properties in Canada, up to 800,000, one time chance in a life, you can pass tax-free to your next generation.
Okay.
So any capital gain or there's no tax.
Okay.
Tax-free. Let's say something happened, one person that all property goes spouse tax-free, there's no tax on it. But if that property goes to next generation, there's a tax consequences. But only you can pass up to 800,000 one-time chance, even you pass while you're living or even after the death.
Okay. So there's some reprieve there, but
Yes.
still limitations. To the spouse, it's an easy rollover. But once you're going, if it's not a principal home, it's going to children or grandchildren,
Yes.
tax consequences.
Yeah, because a lot of time people have a RRSP sitting in account, right? Now, if the RRSP money, obviously that is a taxable money. So that can roll over to spouse tax-free, but whenever spouse withdraw, he or she, they need to pay tax. But if you put a beneficiary, let's say you go to bank and open RRSP, I see so many cases like this. So they put a beneficiary, their kids. Now something happened. Now when kids go to claim, and they charge the tax right away. So let's say somebody have 100,000, up to 30-40% goes to CRA right away.
Wow.
So a kind of half money goes to your loved one. So I always say to people, like, don't make CRA your first kids. Right? Because your loved one get leftover, they don't get everything.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things people need to be more careful when they're planning their estate. But yes, a lot of people, they can call you and then we can get together and we can sit with them, show them how they can do
How
better.
to save and how to
Yes.
Yeah. We've got Harkamal Preets. This is $1 million information. It's what we do every day on basis, helping Canadians how to manage their hard-earned money. And Barty says important information. If you think it's important, share it with someone. You may save a life. I mean, it may seem simple, but especially because people are actually thinking about this now. You know,
Yeah.
with the pandemic that's going on, things that you probably would brush to the side, you're more focused on that. You've got more time. You're looking at your priorities and reordering your life, right? So it's a time for persons to think about it. So it's always a good thing to put things in the front of the mind.
Yeah, even when the coronavirus starts, so Alberta is okay, but Ontario province level hit more, right? So Ontario government, there's news in the newspaper, like all Ontarian must update your will. Because government also know if that goes worse, and the court need to handle a lot of cases. Yes, and they know that most of people don't have the will. And that's why it's important.
Yeah.
But a lot of time, yeah, people put on the side. They never, yeah.
So, estate planning, you've mentioned it in talking. So, is that different from a will? Are they one and the same? Like,
No, it's totally different. Will is the direction how your estate can go. Estate planning means how the property or the estate you're leaving behind, and how this estate going to pass to your next generation, your loved one, tax-free, and the tax-preferred way, right? So, but if you never plan your estate, who's going to pay the taxes when something happened to you? Who's going to do the final expense, where the money come from? If you have any property, there's a capital gain, who's going to pay that capital gain? Because what happened when something happened to the person, if there's a no tax, no cash, family don't have a cash, and then they can't get transferred that estate on their name, because CRA need their money first. So then what happened, then CRA control your asset, and they sold that asset, and whatever money they need, they recover first.
so you mean to tell me, so if I own property, I didn't plan my estate, don't have a will or anything, CRA will actually hold on to the property that I've got,
Yes.
or they'll sell it in order to get their taxes.
Yes.
So you're saying when someone dies, there's taxes that's due.
Yes.
So it's not like you die and everything dies.
No,
with
no,
you.
no, no.
Someone has to pay taxes.
Your state need to file last tax return.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not you're dead. It's dead with you.
As in Canada, when you get paid, you get taxed. When you spend, you get taxed. When you die, you taxed.
Okay. So,
You get taxed from the. So you have to prepare.
okay. Alright. So like, how would people go about doing estate planning? Do you talk to a financial advisor like yourself?
Yes.
Or like
Yeah, you must
tax
have.
attorney? How do they go?
Yeah,
about that?
Well, small estate, then you must have a financial advisor like that's what we do, right? So we help people to do their estate planning properly, and they can call and set up with any financial advisor. Even they can go to bank, they have sometime financial advisor who help them to settle their estate as well. So then people have proper protection plan, so something happen, where the cash going to come, and then that cash goes to the family, and the family pay the taxes, right? This is they can design before something happen. But yes, they definitely need to sit with a financial advisor to plan their further estate.
Estate. As you mentioned about protection plan, that's also something that has increased a lot, right? So lots more persons with regards to insurance, again because of the pandemic that's been happening.
Yes.
Like, how has that affected your business? Have more persons reached out to you?
Yes, there's no doubt. Last 2-3 months, our business, I can say, got double.
Okay.
So a lot of people who got panic, who see the situation, who just thinking about to getting a protection, and they just moving it, and they say, okay, I need to get protection, because the fear in the mind.
We're talking about protection. We're talking about
The life insurance, yes, the life
So
insurance.
in case something happens,
Yes.
because of the pandemic, persons are dying. You're
Yes.
hearing that on the news, although
Yeah.
many are dying. But people are saying now, I need protection in case something happens to me. My family's protected.
Yes,
So that's also something persons may want to take a look at this time. It
Yes.
doesn't have to be something expensive,
yeah.
but at least having something in the event that something happens.
Yep. Even you spending $10-$20, it's not about how much, like you need to spend $400-$500 or $100-$200. Even you spend $20, but at least you have proper protection. Your family is secure, and your estate is secure, and your estate goes tax preferred way to the family.
Marlene mentioned, should my will include who I want to take care of my dependent children?
Yes.
So if you've got...
You must put the executor trustee who's going to manage your kids, who's going to take care of your kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in it, yes, you need to have who's going to take care of your dependent children.
Yeah.
If you've got under your kids.
Otherwise, court will decide
Okay.
in Canada.
So the court will decide if you don't decide. So I guess put everything there. If you've got kids there and you
Yes.
want to make sure they go to this sister or that brother,
Yeah,
indicate
or
it.
your grandmother, father, whoever it is, you want to put, because in the will you put the kid's name and the date of birth and how many years they're old. If they are minor, obviously, now you do mention who's the executor, who's the trustee.
Okay. So is the executor and the trustee one and the same?
Executor is basically who, help your estate to get settled. The trustee, if they're minor kids, then you need a trustee who's going to manage them. Let's say husband, wife, small minor kids, they have one or two child, and something happened to both of them. Then there's somebody need to execute. Might be the same person. It can be the same person. It can be yes, it can be different.
So it could be a friend of yours, for example, is the executor.
Yes.
You've got a sister or brother that are the trustees in case something happens to your child. Yeah, so yeah, for sure, Merlin, that would need to be included in your will, who it is that you want as the
most important, yeah.
trustee. Okay. So, I know we're just kind of wrapping up. We talked with you. Any final thoughts that you want to share? I mean, we talked about earlier, wills, estate planning. People can look back on this again or share the information. But the importance of having a will, who needs a will, the importance of having it, and also let's talk about health directive.
Yeah, no, it's totally. This is a great. I can close with this. Let's say, when we're living in Canada, when I came in Canada 21 years ago, so I don't know many of the laws in Canada. I don't know about the system in how it works, right? But when we start living here, we have the family now. We are making a state, all that stuff. So we must get educated. We must get educated about what is the Canadian law, how the Canadian system work, and there's a sources available. Don't depend on the Google only. Because a lot of people all the time, they depend on the Googles. Okay. So Google not going to prescribe your medication. You need to see the doctor, right? Yes. So then same way on the state or will, you must set up the financial meeting with a financial advisor to get protected. Don't depend on the government. Because a lot of people all the time depend on the government. Government can do whatever they can do, but you must, if you, let's say I can close with this. You can't even plan your estate. And you want government to do everything in Canada, right? So you just need to plan your estate, your home, your family, your loved one, and they can, sometime when any tragedy happens, there's an emotional loss, but same time they are suffering the financial loss. They are going through the pain emotionally and financially. If you have a proper will, proper estate planning, proper protection, at least you can cover the financial loss or the pain they are having that time on the financial side, so they don't need to worry about that part. Yes, emotionally they can recover, but financially it's hard to recover. Yeah. And you putting your family in that situation if you're not doing all the stuff.
So at least putting some plan in place so that your family there will be a loss, but then it won't be to the extent where they're like, okay, I've lost a family member, now I have to find money, or I have to put myself in debt in order to get this done, or I'm in this tussle to figure out where am I going to stay because now, the government is making a decision.
Yeah, now today's the online world, like you can, let's say, as I mentioned, the company name Abrest we have. So the company also giving the final expense, concierge services, or will, or the changing your document need to store, because this is also one thing. Sometime in the family, all the important document only known by one person. Second person don't even know where that document is. Yeah. And that's also important. So Everest providing all the services. Anybody need through you, they can contact me, contact you, then we can sit with them.
Okay, for sure. So if there is no other question, we're gonna take a quick break and Jaswinder is gonna step out. But thank you so much for coming today, sharing with us the importance of having wills, having your estate plan, having your proper protection plan. In light of the pandemic, let's ensure we're taking care of our families, financially, emotionally, all those other things that we're talking about, to make sure in the event that something happens, we're at least prepared for it.
Yes. Thank you very much, Sharon, giving me a chance to, interact with other people. I know this is a very important topic. It's going to be more long, but we're going to do again some other time as well. So, right. So, thank you very much to inviting me.
I just have one more comment from Harkamal Preet. Says, I had a big struggle last year in Royal Alex Hospital in Edmonton. Doctors didn't accept me as a son to make any decision for my mom, because of no will written by my mom and no health directives signed by my mom. So,
yes.
I mean, people
yes, they're facing the problem, because sometimes maybe you don't know you need that, right? But that's why as awareness is needed. That's why education is needed.
Yes.
So you must have that education. People facing problem every day.
Sure. Well, thank you again, Jaswinder.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Okay, so I'm back up. Hello? Hello? Check. All right, now I'm back. Thank you for letting me know that, Merlin. All right, so Dalit mentioned a whole lot of noise, but not hearing a thing. Are you hearing me now? Loud and clear? Should be good. Let me know if you're hearing me. Give me a thumbs up or say yes if you're hearing me now. I think I'm chipping in and out. Is that better? Good. All right. Awesome. All right. So as I said earlier in the conversation, we were talking with Jaswinder Dhillon, who's in the financial industry, about wills and estate planning. In light of the pandemic, let's share with us the experience that you've had. Whether you've had a will or didn't have one. Harkamal Preet talked about having a struggle last year with his mom in the hospital and not being able to make a decision on her behalf because, she didn't have a health directive, there was no living will or anything like that. So what are some of the experiences that you may have had or you've, known of others having because of not having a will or not having a health directive or power of attorney? Share with us. Give me a call. We still have the number. It's +33 627 808675. So you can add that number to WhatsApp as a contact, and then just do a voice call from there, and we'll be able to chat more on the conversation. So the number is there on the screen, +33 627 808 675. And I know we've had lots of experience this week. It's the last day of May, and for many persons, we are going back into the work world, or you're going out more because of what's, with the changes, more places have phased and they're getting back to work. Let us know what experience you've been having. Hi Ying Chung, how are you doing? How are things in Calgary? What has been the experience in Calgary? It has been more challenges there. I think I've lost audio again. Okay, I'm back. So more challenges in Calgary than in Edmonton. So share with us what you've been experiencing in Calgary. Ying Chung, what have you been experiencing in Calgary? So one of the things I wanted to share, Erica here. Hi Erica, good to see you. Greetings to all listeners, she says. Erica is from Jamaica, one of our faithful callers who's always in, supporting and encouraging us from this end. Something that I wanted to share was about wills. So there was someone who was from a financial industry background too, who spoke about the experience she had with her sister being a single mom here in Canada. And what happened was that her sister passed away, and she had 2 kids. And she was from the Philippines. So she was like, as usual, we'll just take the kids. That's what she thought. But then she was having challenges. And she said for 2 years, the kids were, bouncing between foster homes because their mom hadn't had a will. So just the importance, like for those of you who've got children, especially minor children, if you're, single parents, or whether or not you're single parents, because if anything happens to both parents, then the challenge is going to be, if you haven't had a will, then the government or the courts will have to make a decision on behalf to say where your children go. So just ensure that you've got a will, so that's taken care of, especially for those who've got children, so that decision can be made. A decision with regards to what you want can be made for those kids. So talk to me. Who's going to call in for today? Share with me. What have you been experiencing this week? If you haven't been on the call before, we kind of share things about, how has the pandemic affected you? What are the changes that have been made? What significant have you seen? If you're back at work, or you're back out to, I wouldn't even say church because it's closed down. Social events have closed down. What changes have you seen in the last month with regards to the pandemic? How has it been affecting you? Again, the number is on the screen. So +33 627 808675. Give us a call. Let us know. Add it first as a WhatsApp contact. If you haven't called us yet, call in. Let us know your experience. Let us know what you've been doing different, how you can encourage others to make a difference during this pandemic, or to plan, to keep a steady focus even in this experience. All right. So we had a few persons who were on last week. Last week we were talking about don't forget the children. We had Merlin on the line last week. It was real great. A program where we spoke about, things to be cognizant of for those of you who've got young children, or even, young adults, how the pandemic has affected them, what kind of conversations you need to have. Just being aware that persons are grieving, they're grieving differently. And, with your children, how do you help to calm them, not having them filled with anxiety with what's happening, but having that conversation with them so they can know what is being done by the health authorities, by the government, by yourself as a parent, and what they can do to keep themselves safe once they go back out into the real world. That's what we're going to call it today. So give us a call, share with us your experience. We've just got a few it's just a few minutes 6. So, I mean, if you want to continue the program, I need to have you, calling in, sharing that experience with us, and then we can chat a little bit more of what has been happening in your world and how you've been managing during this time. So, give me a call, or you can chat on the live. A few persons are on. So, if you want to chat on the live, I can also answer your questions. I field your questions from the live, and of course I'm going to encourage you to share, to like, and to encourage others to come on and to share their experiences that they've been having. Okay. Still waiting patiently. And I said, for those of you who are on before, it's nothing new. If you've called before, you can still call in and we can chat about it. What has been your experience with wills, with estate planning, or the lack thereof? Maybe it's for a health directive. How do you plan things, or what have you done to get around that or get through that? Have you had your will yet? I've got a few minutes, and if I'm not getting a call, I'll just be winding down and wrapping up. So I think for the most part, the invitation that we shared was about wills and estates. So I'll just wrap up on that. As Jasvinder Dhillon was here, sharing with us just the importance of having a will, and for the most part, is just talking about what your wishes are. Should something happen or you pass on, what your wishes are. With regards to your estate. So there isn't a specific age. You can make a will on behalf of your kids that are minors that he mentioned. Once you own estate, you own property, you own vehicles, you have a bank account, be sure to have a will in place. It can be as simple as having 2 witnesses to sign that will. So you want to ensure you've got something. There's online services. He's mentioned Everest. You can get in touch with me. I can connect you with him, with other online services that's available. And then for other persons, if you've got a more extensive estate, or you own business, you own a partnership, you may want to speak to a lawyer to ensure you've got all your I's dotted and your T's crossed. Remember, mentioned with many places opening, it's important for people not to rush back out. So that's very important as you go back out, to ensure that you've not relaxed. Or this is over now, I can just go back to be normal. Remember the precautions that's been given. It may be different for different parts of the world that you're in. For some persons, it's wearing masks, wearing gloves, keeping your or your physical distancing, whatever the requirements are where you're at. So be sure to or ensure that you're following those guidelines. There's limitations with regards to indoor meetings with persons versus those who are meeting outdoors, what the numbers are. You want to make sure that you're keeping those numbers so you're not in violation of your country requirements. Donald mentions Jamaica is opening up tomorrow, and some people are on edge thinking that COVID will come back with a bang. And that is a fear, not only for Jamaica, but for different places. Once the phased opening up of the economy starts, that's a challenge that also has to be managed. So even here in Edmonton, one of the things that they've closed down a few of the skate parks that have been opened just 2 weeks ago. And that's simply because they've been issuing fines and persons aren't keeping their distance, or it's overcrowded. So what we want to remind you is to be cautious, to ensure that you're following the guidelines so that it doesn't delay the opening up of the economy or the getting back to life as normal as we would possibly can get back to. So you want to ensure that you keep your social distance, because there's also the fear that with more interactions, then more persons may get the coronavirus in Quebec. School started 2 weeks ago, I think, and they mentioned there's clusters with schools now because of school being opened up. Merle mentioned very important for parents with young children to include who will be their caregivers should you pass away. So that's also something, we're talking about a few things at once, but that's also something that's important for those who've got young children, as Merle mentioned. Merle is a social worker, so she has some in on this information too. So be sure that you include in your will who is the caregiver should something happen to you, so your children are taken care of. And then Petula, hi, we started homeschool from September, so things didn't hit us so hard. So at least, a step ahead of the game. Many parents are trying to figure themselves out, but this is a good opportunity to learn more about your children and, to make adjustments to ensure that you stay safe, they stay safe, and we'll get through this pandemic together. So I'm just gonna wrap up now, and next week's gonna be our final week for this corona pandemic series. Hope it has been great for you. We've kept your company. We've provided some insights on things that you should be doing, precautions you should be taking, and valuable information that you can use to apply to your life, going forward, looking at different options that's available. So until next week, this is Sharon and sign out from Garden TV.